let's go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. Welcome, everybody. Blair Township Board of Trustees, regular board meeting, January 14th, 2020. Join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Please. Present. Zeitz.
Here.
Petra.
Yes. Here.
Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Wolfgang here. Blanchet.
Here.
And Campbell.
Here. Brief public input. Sure.
Just want to confirm this is not for, you, that a lot of public people related for that?
Yeah, we're gonna,
So
yeah.
apologies for that. Sorry.
Approval of the agenda.
I would make a motion to approve the agenda as.
Don't we have some things to remove in here?
Yeah, I'm just reading, so I'm just waiting for somebody to make some changes.
Well, we need to add deputy clerk's wages to the agenda since we have to replace another one. You didn't know that, Dennis?
I didn't. I kind of figured it, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm doing Thanksgiving.
And,
So that will be item G, deputy clerk wages.
and didn't you want to remove the item B?
Yeah, I would like to add item H. Originally, I was just gonna discuss it. I was contacted by Mickey from the Pittsfitters, and he was inquiring about the annual Easter egg hunt, and he's offered the ballpark stadium, the entire stadium, to open it up so we could host our Blair Township Easter egg hunt up at the ballpark.
That would be really cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I thought tonight if we made action on it, that gives us time to start planning up there with him rather than waiting another month. So I'd like to add the Easter egg hunt as item H. And I would like to remove item B, the ordinance amendment for emergency services charges. Just remove that from the agenda.
I would move to approve the agenda with changes.
Support. It's been moved and supported to approve the agenda with the noted changes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 6, declaration of conflict of interest. Anybody have a conflict with anything on the agenda? Item 7, presentation and special reports. Grand Traverse County Commissioners report. Brad stopped in earlier. He was going to go to Garfield's Township Board meeting first and then come out here to do his report with us. That way he thought he'd be available after the meeting if anybody wanted to talk one-on-one with him. Community police officer.
Good evening, Matt Trustee, Grand Traverse Sheriff's Office, Blair Township Community Police Officer. The December report, my statistics: arrests 2, citations 10, complaints 48, traffic crashes 7, warrants detained 4. First little item I put on here, on 12/2, a man reported his $3,000 engagement ring missing or stolen from the Brentwood sub here. He had a suspect in mind out in Kalkaska. I did a search warrant, went out there with some of their deputies and found the ring, and then did a search warrant on the person's cell phone, which led to another suspect because they were texting about going into his house and stealing it. So that was cool. And then I added something on the back. This person posted this on Facebook, so it was kind of public, and he put my name in there. I thought it was super nice, so I attached it there. Now, somebody said, I won't say who, that I made up this account and I typed this up. That did not happen.
His wife did.
Who I actually witnessed this man come in here to retrieve the engagement ring that Matt had gotten back, and it was a very tearful, happy moment. It was awesome. It was cool to witness that.
The next item on here, I labeled it as the magic trick. On 12/12, a guy went to the family fair, and he's ended up doing this in our county and surrounding counties, but he takes 5 20s and asks for change, wants a $100 bill, she hands it to him, and he's really like, I watched the video, it's pretty cool. He flips it for a 10 in his hands, like without being seen immediately, and hands it right back to her. He's like, then tells her she made a mistake, and of course she falls for it, gives him another 100, and he makes $90. So. But I have a warrant for him for it, but he's kind of homeless, so I have no idea where he's at. Lastly, on 12/21, the suspect out in Missouri was finally returned to Michigan. And we had our first court date yesterday. It went really well. It's always, well, I was worried, you know, you have a young person that has to stand before the person and say what happened, so it's kind of scary. But it went well. And that's all.
Good job.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Matt.
Did you guys read the last sentence of that second page? When he handed it to me, I gave him a huge, long hug and did everything I could to hold back tears, but I couldn't.
Sounds like a really sweet guy.
Who, our trustee?
No, the guy that
Hi, Andy.
Hello. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too.
Although it's been like a month, it feels like it hasn't. I've just been busy. Weather is the main theme at the road commission, it seems. The weather didn't let us grade roads, so the gravel roads are still kind of fun. And it seems like we have a weather event every weekend. And of course, our staff we're staffed up primarily for the week, to cover the normal business traffic. We do have plows out, we do have a pretty good crew out during the weekend, but it's not as heavy duty or as full as during the week. I think Mother Nature knows that and is messing with us. They do a great job catching up in the week once they get the full crew on there, and the weather stops snowing. Nothing real major going on right now. We're just getting ready to ramp up for the year. We're going to have our organizational meeting end of the month here. There's going to be a big change at the road commission. There's somebody retiring.
Aw, so sad.
And anyone who knows anything about the road commission is going to be leaving. Deb's retiring the day after our meeting. So if you've ever called the road commission and needed information, they probably called Deb and said, hey, do you remember when we put that bridge in?
Oh, yeah.
And she remembers. There's a lot of times there's people who remember what happened, but their recollection isn't right. Hers is always, to the best of my knowledge, spot on. So she's going to be greatly missed. And Brad needs to figure out how he wants to reorganize the front office. Temporarily, we're going to have the clerk most likely going to be our finance director, who's going to clerk the board. The board hires the clerk to take care of the minutes and correspondence and all that stuff. The clerk works for the board. Doesn't need to be necessarily an employee of the road commission. It could be somebody outside, but it has not been. To the best of my knowledge, it doesn't really make sense not to have someone who's familiar with the operations. Any questions, concerns, comments?
I had something new this month at the supervisors meeting. Once a month, the supervisors get together, and actually Brad and Wayne were there, which was nice to have them join us.
Heard that's fun.
It was awesome to have them there, and they're gonna make a point, Brad himself, trying to come out and hit some townships, you know, personally, and yeah, it was informative, and it was nice to have them at those meetings. And I spoke highly of you,
I heard there's some interesting conversations about representation at different meetings.
or lack thereof,
Correct.
but we don't have that. We need that
I'm
clear.
glad I'm on this side of the table. I'm on the right side this time.
Yep.
And it's a pleasure to
come to your guys' meeting and share what we've got going on and hopefully clear up any miscommunications that do occur out there, because as we all know, social media now is really easy for things to get blown out of proportion real
Yeah.
quick. And hopefully by getting you guys what's going on, you can help put some of the fires out.
Well, it makes it a lot easier for us to answer questions when people call. It's nice to be able to actually know what's going on so we can answer it instead of saying, call County Road, because then you hear, well, that's what they always say, and then County Road will tell me to call you, so. I know this board appreciates it.
One of the things that has been really hot topic on Facebook and a couple different groups is stoplights.
Oh, yeah.
We're in the process of, we're supposed to be done, but everything in government, it seems to run a little bit behind. We are hoping to have all of our lights with the new equipment on there. They're gonna have cameras for sensors versus the in-ground. Some of them, they're having problems where it's not tripping, so that the light doesn't lose the car there. It's funny, I sat there for 10 minutes, and I go, call the traffic services of the road commission, and they can address that for you. So I messaged traffic services, expect a phone call. He goes, oh, that's acting up again, I'm glad someone called. You know, people in the community don't let us know there's an issue.
That's right.
We don't necessarily know there's a problem because it looks to us like everything is working right. If we don't register a car pulling up, it doesn't trip, you know, it doesn't change the timing sequence if there's nothing coming the other way. So do encourage anyone to call, either us, MDOT, or if they're in the city or one of the villages that have their own. They don't have any licensed villages, never mind. To let them know about timing issues, because sometimes it's simple as the sensor's gone bad or the wire's broke or what have you, and they can adjust timing. He's gonna try to do that on that one light. That was an interesting discussion.
Awesome.
But thank you, I appreciate your, letting them know I do my job.
We appreciate it.
Thanks, Andy.
Treasurer's report?
All right, the general fund, $3,048,809. The fire and police fund, $415,029. The ambulance fund, $496,501. The Metro Act fund is $64,982. Liquor law enforcement fund is $25,226. The sewer fund is $714,891. The water fund is $1,679,734. Current tax collection is $1,343,620. Payroll clearing is $19. Milfoil fund is $4,940, for a total of $8,793,748.80.
Thank you.
Ms. Joyce? Announcements, correspondence?
All right, I'm gonna try to say this without crying. I just want to thank everybody. It's been hard, but it was nice to have family around. Yeah, I'm taking that from Sam, so.
I'm ready to cry. It is truly an honor to come to work and work with everyone here. Everyone pitches in and gets the job done with a very positive attitude. I appreciate you all.
And Jake and I do. It's been a hard couple weeks. Sorry, I was gonna try to go without crying.
It's all right. Any other announcements, correspondence?
I just wanna, thank Nicole and Carl. They helped me last week with getting my absentee ballot applications ready to mail out, and tomorrow approximately 1,700 of them will go out, which is up from about 800 the last election.
Wow.
So then I'll really be busy. But thanks, you guys.
Lynette, it was really a privilege to work with you and to help you. And I'm hoping to help more around here. And in fact, the matter is, you brought about the bathrooms too. I'm thinking about maybe coming in once a week or every two and look at the bathrooms. If they need to be cleaned, I'll do that. Because I'm mostly retired. And I'm being paid enough You guys should get your money's worth, right?
Right. And I can tell you, you don't have to just look at them. If you just came in once a week and cleaned them, that'd be awesome.
Thanks, Carl.
Thank
No
you.
problem. Thank you, too.
Any other announcements, correspondence? Consent calendar. The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with in one board motion without discussion. Any member of the board may ask that any item of the consent calendar be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will be automatically respected.
I just have something on the minutes.
Okay.
C, we're just missing second by Fitzpatrick. It says moved by Blunstein by Fitzpatrick.
So we're just missing the word moved, or second,
Yeah,
which, I'm sorry.
Page 3.
yeah.
Under what?
On page 3 under C, surplus item.
Okay.
I have ABD.
You're just following.
Yeah, it says moved by Valentine. By Fitzpatrick.
That's all I have.
Okay.
Anything else off the consent calendar?
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar with one correction as presented.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the consent calendar with the one correction as noted. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? New business. Okay, we're gonna close our regular meeting and open up our public hearing.
I believe you should start with the attorney for Huey Investments, because it sounds like we have a late breaking development and the special use permit application may be withdrawn.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, my name is Mark Clark, and I'm an attorney representing the Hueys here this evening. I had an opportunity to discuss the matter with your township attorney, and we had a discussion about some of the procedural items. My clients were not at the planning commission, and I know that I know there's a disagreement about whether or not they had an opportunity to actually fully participate in the process to where we got to here. And so we talked about the fact that your ordinance provides that an applicant can only do this once a year. In other words, if they wanted to revisit or resubmit this, they could do that in a year. Believe it or not, the attorney's goal is to resolve disputes and not be in court. We'd certainly rather be in a position to convince you folks by way of information that we still have a good idea and a good application. And so rather than have this matter continue on potentially in court, which we don't want to spend that money and you don't want to spend that money, we thought that perhaps with an agreement from the township, and I think that your attorney agrees with the concept that this has taken so long from start to finish to get here this evening, that the better solution may be to simply withdraw this application and submit a new application with the township if you folks really want to go forward and try and convince the township that what they're proposing is a good idea. And so they applied, their first application actually was February of last year. And the board's decision was in March of last year. And so since the ordinance provides you have to wait a year before you can apply again, what I had proposed is perhaps rather than arguing and getting into a dispute about this process and whether or not it was a valid process, that we would simply withdraw the application with the opportunity to refile it after March 1st, which would be beyond that 1 year, and then we would avoid any dispute or continuing dispute, and the matter ending, and potentially ending up in court again, which we like to avoid.
And
So,
I guess I have an opinion on that. If Mr. Clark is indicating that Huey Investments is withdrawing their application, it's really not an agreement. It's their application, they can withdraw it. We really can't do a whole ton. So what I'm hearing is they're withdrawing. What that means is whether we agree or not, we should not take this up. We should consider this withdrawn. Now, I do have an opinion. I've seen this in many contexts over actual circuit court litigations, driver's license appeals, lots of cases. If you withdraw prior to a final decision, it is effectively withdrawn as of the date of the application because there's no final decision to run that year period from. So I agree with Mr. Clark that if they choose to withdraw, our notes should reflect that, or our minutes should reflect that they may refile a new application with a new application fee with whatever new evidence they so choose on or after March 1 of 2020. So it's not so much an agreement as Mr. Clark is using a procedural thing here. Now, we are here for public hearing, so I would encourage the board to encourage anyone here with public comment to make that public comment to the board at the close of this regular meeting. And that way it should be preserved in the minutes for future consideration. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And just clarifying, Mr. Clark, you're saying it's withdrawn, so we don't have to make that decision?
sure, and it's withdrawn, based upon the consensus that we have an opportunity to refile.
That's my advice, and I would tell you that that's what is going to be held up in court on or after March 1st of 2020, if the minutes would reflect that.
So it's withdrawn on that understanding.
And so I don't think the court needs to, I don't think the board needs to take any action other than to simply move on. But again, it's just a point of order. I would encourage anyone here with comment to make their comment if they so choose, for or against, in the middle, whatever, at the end, because we have invited our public here, and that should be at least preserved.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So should one of us make a motion to?
I don't think so. He withdrew it, so I mean, there's
Right.
nothing, it's not before us anymore.
Okay,
I mean, the only thing that is, it's not before us anymore, so there's no motion.
okay.
Again, we invited our public here. I think it's important that they get the opportunity to say something, but now it's more appropriate that they would say that in public comment or public input
Okay.
at the close of our regular.
Oh, item C, intergovernmental agreement between Paradise Township and Blair Township. We were gonna remove that from the agenda, weren't we?
No, we removed the ordinance amendment.
So why don't you come up and explain the addition that needs to be put in, because we all have a copy of it?
Right.
So what,
There, we utilize the piece truck, the property of Blair Township, and they're asking that we place under the agreement officially before we pass it.
So you're gonna redo it and bring it back next month?
Correct.
Adding the stuff about the
the
chief's
chief's,
stuff.
yeah,
All
the
right,
chief's
okay.
view, okay. Item D, designee to assist Treasurer's Department in receiving tax payment.
So this was brought to my attention that we were supposed to have this all along and that, but we have not. And especially, it's really opened up my eyes the last couple weeks because we really needed Lisa and Nicole and Jerome to help us out. And this just gives us the ability to say yes. If somebody comes to the back counter and the treasurer's office is closed, then they can take the tax payment.
Tracy, wasn't this just passed recently, though it's not always been something?
Part of this has passed in October, but from what Kathy said at MTA is that we've always have supposed to have been having something on the books if somebody else is gonna collect
On record.
on record.
But it became Public Act 129 as of October
October.
2019.
Yeah.
so. So I would entertain a motion if somebody wanted to make a motion.
I make a motion, I can't figure out how to say that. I'd like to make a motion to have a designee to assist the Treasury Department in receiving tax payments.
It's been moved and supported.
I like that new word.
That's a combination, supported and appointed. It's been moved and supported to authorize a designee to assist in the Treasurer's Department in regards to collecting tax payments. Any discussion?
Do we not need to say who it's gonna be in the motion?
We occasionally have water department staff or township supervisor.
I would. Sean?
Sorry, not paying attention, say that again.
We're pursuant to Public Act, what was it, 169?
129.
129.
And I think it does say that you have to designate, so we should have it specifically designated.
Then on that motion, yeah.
Because otherwise, yeah, it could just be
Otherwise-
anybody.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, so-
I could, and I can't.
You
I
can.
mean,
Right.
Okay. If we have to redo the motion, we do the motion.
I would just
Just
add
add-
on
Yeah, yeah, I can add on.
zoning department and/or township supervisor.
Say what?
Zoning department
Okay.
and/or township supervisor.
Yeah, I'd like to add that on there, then, for the zoning department or the or the supervisor. Designate them for receiving tax payments.
Who supported that?
I do.
Do you still support that?
Yes, I do.
Did you get that, Heather?
If you don't, then I'll start giving the evil eye, okay?
I mean, to me, you're correct, the board has to approve it, but it would be up to Tracy as the treasurer to nominate who she designates and subject to the board's approval, so as long as Tracy is nominating zoning administrator and supervisor and the board approves it, I think you're compliant completely.
but we need to actually say
Oh,
who's
yeah.
gonna do it.
Yeah.
By name or position?
I think position,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because name will change.
Correct.
And obviously, if you wanted to revisit it, if for some reason you didn't have a zoning administrator, for example, you could.
Don't say that,
remove
Sean.
Oh, but lots of townships are going to planning and only planning.
Right, so, and that was still supported. Okay. Let's do a roll call on this.
Blonshine,
Yes.
Fleece,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Zeitz.
Yes.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
And Wolfgang, yes.
Item E, agreement for remittance of property taxes.
This Heidi asked that each township, they had one on file, but I think it was from '09, so she asked that we updated it. And this just says that we'll pay it by the third business day after the 15th or last day of the month, which we do now. And for doing that, we keep all the interest that I accrue on the money up in that, so. But we comply with this now, they just don't have it in the clerk's records down there, so she asked that each township update their records and send her a copy.
I would move,
Okay.
I would move to approve the agreement for remittance of property taxes between Blair Township and Grand Traverse County.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the agreement for remittance of property taxes between Blair Township and Grand Traverse County. Any discussion? I'm being good to her. Roll call when you're ready.
Wolfgang, yes. Zeitz?
Yes.
Fleece?
Yes.
Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Blonstein?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
And Kuchera.
Yes.
Item F, authorization for the supervisor to sign the letter of understanding between Township and MDOT. This, I'm sure you guys all read it, this is the letter of understanding for the 2021 roundabout at M37 and Blair Town Hall Road. This is standard practice that when these roundabouts go in, the township in which they go in become responsible for the overhead lights and MDOT has asked that
Can we put a sign in the middle?
we approve this, perhaps, but it can't block any vision. But we can plant lots of flowers. I already asked.
And when we make the motion, we need to refer to resolution number 2020-01 that I emailed out to you guys and made copies of for you.
I make a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign letter of understanding between the township and MDOT, resolution 2020-01.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to adopt resolution 2020-01, the letter of understanding between Blair Township and MDOT. For our 2021 roundabout at M37 and Blair Town Hall Road. Any further discussion? The one thing I would like to say about this, I met with MDOT again this week, and I'm getting a lot of phone calls because this has been very public and the concern with Vance Road and M37. I've had actually several meetings with MDOT, and as of right now, we have MDOT doing traffic studies at that intersection, researching it, and they've not committed to it yet, but I think we're gonna see in the near future an announcement coming from MDOT because they do now recognize with the growth and development that's happened out in this area specific to that. And I know the director of transportation was up here last week from Lansing and toured our township and saw all of the development going on, so
Are
it's
they
a
gonna
good
make
thing.
this big enough for the semis to easily go
Yes.
around it, not like the one?
Yes, no,
They learned.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Roll call?
Campbell,
Yes.
Blonstein,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Fleece,
yes.
Wolfgang, yes. Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
and Zeitz.
Yes.
Oh, we're on deputy clerk wage.
So before I offer anybody the job, I have to know what I can tell them they will be making. Jennifer started at $15.50 and after 90 days, she got a 50-cent raise up to 16. The person that I have in mind, really don't think she can take less than 16.
I don't think no, it'd be a privilege working for you, so you shouldn't be paid.
Absolutely fine.
Yeah, because after before the 90 days are up, we'll be into budget talks
Right.
anyways, so
Yeah,
I think 16 is fair.
So I guess I would like a motion stating the wage and that the deputy will be a full-time employee.
then I would, yeah, I'll make a motion to, for the deputy clerk, full-time, and starting wage would be $16 per hour.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to authorize the deputy clerk position as a full-time position, and starting pay will be $16 an hour. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Wolfgang, yes. Fleece,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Kuchera,
Yes.
Blonshine,
Yes.
Fitzpatrick,
Yes.
and Zeitz.
Yes.
Can I say one other thing?
Mhm.
I mean, this isn't, it's on a different subject, but it's related. Depending on when this person can start, I'm gonna be sending out, like I said, 1,700 absentee ballot applications, probably tomorrow, and they're gonna start coming in, and I may need some help. But unless I deputize somebody, they can't touch the ballots.
Mm.
So if this person cannot start before I have to start sending out ballots, I would say having an election worker come in for election worker wage would be appropriate.
So you'd have to deputize him as a deputy clerk?
I'm not sure, I think I would have to just swear him in as an election worker, or an election assistant,
For that.
because, yeah,
Yeah, because they touch the ballots when they're sworn in as, although,
as election workers,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I don't think that's inappropriate for us at all.
Do I need a motion to be able to have somebody come in at, when I feel they're needed?
No? I mean, not as the clerk. I mean, if it has to do with funds, maybe.
Okay.
Not as the clerk. You're able to hire part-time election workers, and bigger municipalities do that routinely.
Correct, but she's not allowed to have them come in here whenever she needs help in the clerk's office with a wage being paid to them without board approval.
The board has to approve either the position or the per diem.
Right.
But the board can approve X number of dollars per
Right.
fiscal
Well,
year.
she has budgeted election
Correct,
worker
and
wages.
that's what I guess I mean, so as long as
And
we're
we
not
have
talking-
approved a wage for
Yeah,
election workers.
as long as you're not talking thousands of dollars, if you're talking a couple days where it's
Right.
a couple $100 a day, and that's built into the clerk's budget, then I don't think the board needs to take any action. If you're increasing the budget of the clerk's office, then I do think that requires board action, or board approval. Are you asking for additional funds to be allocated?
No, but and this would not be the clerk's budget, it would be the election budget.
Yeah, yep.
I'm not saying that, before June 30th, I might not ask for a budget amendment, because we've had to buy all new, applications this year, because, well, it's for a presidential primary and people have to choose which ballot they want. We're gonna have to order all new ballots for the, envelopes for the ballots, the inside and the outside, and secrecy sleeves. There's been a lot of, I ordered a new tabulator, because with all the increase in AV ballots, I'm gonna need a second, AV counting board. I feel that I budgeted enough, but, and we will be reimbursed for some of the primary election by the two parties.
But if there was a need for more, you could make an amendment to the election.
But
We can, yeah, we can
Yeah.
always amend that if it happens to go
Right.
over, but there's a high probability she's gonna be reimbursed. And we went ahead and ordered it at our last meeting because with government, with the state, Lynette wanted to just make sure that the equipment was here and ready to go. But we know, MTA has already verified that she can have an election worker come in, but it does need the board okay to pay.
that wasn't what I asked about.
The board needs to okay the pay per the budget and then the wage, but not, her office has gigantic discretion in what to do to hire workers to deal with elections, because that's literally the job of the clerk. But then you guys fund her. So that's where you can string her, or that's where you can, so what I'm hearing is, right now you think your budget's appropriate, but you may have to bring it up later. That's totally fine.
But what I
agree.
found out from MTA was the deputy clerk's wage could change. When, at our June meeting, we passed the resolutions that set the wages for the officials and for the employees. So, I figured, you know, this new deputy could come in at $16 an hour without board approval. But I was told by MTA, it can change.
That's the one
By the
control
board.
the board has over both deputies.
Well, and the board just approved that, though.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Right.
then that's
We're not
fine.
even talking about
But she was
the
talking
deputy.
about
Yeah.
before,
We got it. I think you got it.
We're good.
Yeah, I think you got it. You don't have to convince, you don't have to convince me. Trust me.
So did somebody make a motion?
yes, Carl did,
Okay, okay,
and we voted.
okay. Any further discussion on that? Item H, Easter egg hunt in the park or at the ballpark?
At the ballpark, that would be awesome.
And we don't need a motion or anything.
I think
This
we're
is
good.
just our decision to.
I think we're gonna need a lot more eggs though.
Yes, we had somebody come in and donate 3,000, so I just need my park patrol kids to come in and stuff them.
Fill 'em?
Yeah.
How long does it normally take to stuff? A couple days?
No, we've ordered them stuffed before.
Oh, you are? Yeah, no, but weren't you stuffing them last year?
Well,
or-
like
some
the
that
park
were-
patrol
yeah.
kids were, yeah.
Okay.
Ones that we
Yeah,
recouped.
the girls will do that.
Okay.
They're always looking for something to do,
Okay,
so
that's fine.
the girls will do it. So I'll just get a hold of Mickey and say, yeah, we'll partner up with you and have the Easter egg hunt at the ballpark. And then we'll just blast it out on social media and Facebook and our webpage and,
Hopefully it won't snow.
it doesn't matter, they'll let us use inside there,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so. Item 12, extended public input. If you just let us know your name. Sure.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Adam Pagoda. I'm the representative for the ownership group of National Storage Centers Traverse Silver Lake. Kind of a bit of a loss, not expecting the withdrawal, but I guess first I want to say I've been to a bunch of city council meetings over the years, and you guys seem like you're a real family, and it's nice to see you guys supporting each other. Anyway, I guess I'll say what I plan to say. For those of us that were at the planning commission meeting back in December, I mean, it was a pretty spirited conversation over 90 minutes, and we kind of discussed self-storage, the business, because it's kind of an interesting, nuanced business that I think some people understand at least a little bit, but other times they don't necessarily have a full understanding for the business and how it works and kind of what the buildings are, whether they have any reusability, that kind of thing. But ultimately, we have a 75,000 square foot facility And, you know, we're only about 85% full at this point. We are currently approved for another 25,000 square feet. We have no plans anytime in the near future to build or utilize that additional 25,000 feet. We don't believe there's anywhere near the demand in the Grand Traverse County area for more self-storage. A new facility just got approved in Garfield. Deluxe self-storage has another 5 acres that Brian Moline has no plans to build anytime soon. So what I'm ultimately trying to say is that we don't believe there's any more demand for storage in this area. And ultimately, if a 100,000 square foot facility were to go up, it would really, I would say, kill a lot of the storage businesses that have been here. And one of the interesting things about storage is that, unlike an office building or a restaurant or something like that, there's no reusability for these buildings. So they end up just being blighted eyesores, and if we're not making money, we're not doing pavement or lights or, any of those kind of things, and they just end up being a blighted community. And I know the Blair Township master plan that was done a few years ago, I was looking for a harmonious business environment, and it is our opinion that in this area, maybe more retail or more office or housing or just some other use that would be complementary to what's already here, and something that wasn't going to essentially decimate existing business owners that are up here. One other thing, a point that was made is that, well, if we had a Burger King on one corner, we would never say, oh, you can't have a McDonald's, or I guess a better example maybe be a Taco Bell on the other corner. And I think the difference between self-storage and a restaurant business is, sometimes you're in the mood for burgers and sometimes you're in the mood for tacos. But my 10 by 10 is the same as anybody else's 10 by 10. And that's the thing with this business where, any additional footage where, Blair Township has, I believe, somewhere between 12 and 17 square feet per person, when the Michigan average is 7, so it's already well above average up here. It essentially could just, kill a bunch of other businesses that are already here and be unharmonious, I guess, as I would say. I think that's all I want to say. I know it's kind of irrelevant at this point, and we'll be back in March, but just wanted to kind of make that point.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
everyone.
thank you, thank you.
Matt Huey. By the way, I built that self-storage that you own. First of all, competitors should not enforce the decision for a special use permit. It has nothing to do. It was mentioned at the Planning Commission last year. If I decide I want to build a self-storage and it's a little bit saturated, that's my choice. So you shouldn't be influenced by competitors. That's not fair. Secondly, there's a facility 5-6 miles outside of town that has put up 30,000 square feet in the last year, and they're just filling up. He's constantly building buildings. So the radius is a little different around here. It's not 5 miles. And I'm very familiar with self-storage, by the way. That's not the only thing I've worked on. So, I just want to make a statement. We got to quit looking at the competitors' opinion of my special use permit when we come around to this again. It's not fair to me that you guys are gathering an opinion from competitors. It's just not right. And secondly, I haven't had a chance to speak in front of you or the Planning Commission because I was at other meetings and out of town, figuring that this thing would have gone right through. We brought in some of the nicest businesses in this area. Silver Lake Self-Storage, Incredible Mo's, Shooters, and Kenny's. And so you look at the aesthetic pleasing businesses that are in this area, those are the top-notch ones. And we'll do the same thing when we build our self-storage. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
Brad, you can come up and give your report now.
Good evening, everyone. Brad Jewett, Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners, District 3. Sorry I was late. I was at Garfield Township's meeting, which first Tuesday or second Tuesday of every month there. Both the guys have them at the same time, and I report to both most of the time. But anyway, just some highlights from 2019. 2019, we had a pretty busy year, as most people know and everything, but a few things we did. We did update the Hall of Justice with energy efficient lighting and HVAC systems. We updated all of our policies and procedures, some of them dating back 25, 30 years since they've been updated and everything. One of the real big highlights we did this year was we paid $1.5 million more towards our pension obligation. So instead of 5.9, we paid $7.4 million. And heading into 2020, the pension is still one of our focuses. And again, instead of paying 5.9, we've already paid $7 million towards that. And we don't have any MERS reports back in 2019. One would think with our contribution and the way the markets have been that it was a good year and everything. So come June, July, when we see our reports from MERS, we would hope that things look a lot better than they did even a year ago. 2020 on our plate is also, we want to try and establish a comprehensive long-term maintenance and replacement plan for our capital assets, something that's not been done in years, not been updated in years and everything. So, moving ahead into 2020, we look to have a full plate again, but continue to improve services and things for our constituents. Last week's meeting there, we did have a resolution to approve refugees into our area, and I'm not sure if any of you had a chance to view that video or even watch it live or anything like that, but we had a couple of young girls there that spoke, and the only thing I can say, if you haven't watched it, you need to watch it. It's half hour worth of time watching it, but it's pretty heart-wrenching. This one girl from Nigeria, what she went through and everything, she went across the ocean twice by herself at 16 years old to try and find a place for her in life and everything. After her dad was gone since she was little, her mom was on her deathbed. She left her mom on her deathbed, and her mom told her to go. But anyway, she had said that, when she started school, she had 16, I think she said it was, kids in her class. By the time she was a freshman, there was 6, and the rest of them were dead. And she had just mentioned that, to sum a lot of it up, she had mentioned that if she stayed where she was in Nigeria, her 2 choices in life would be drugs or human trafficking. But see a couple people that were extremely thankful to have the opportunity to come to the U.S., was really eye-opening again to realize how fortunate we have it here. We've had some criticism through emails and stuff for allowing it, but these refugees are vetted. They're vetted by the UN, they're vetted by the U.S. They go through a pretty stringent process to come here and everything. And they have a path for citizenship here, but they're tickled pink. This girl's going to school, working a part-time job. Her comment was when she came here, when she was growing up in Nigeria, there was nothing good to say about Americans. Nothing at all about white people is what she said. And she said now, she goes, I came here and I found people that love me. People that accepted me for me and stuff. So anyway, if you guys have some time, I'd say take a look at that meeting and scroll forward to wherever that was in the meeting. But
37 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted to mention that it's a good program. We're not bringing hundreds of people into our region or anything like that. We're talking maybe a dozen people this year or something, but they're extremely vetted, and it appears that they'll be really good citizens to our community and everything. So
That's great.
So anyway, that was probably the highlight of last week. It was kind of a slow agenda here, get through the holidays and start back up first year. A lot of committees that we all sit on and everything. During December was kind of quiet and everything just because of the holidays and everything. But look forward to 2020, and like always, my email and phone number's on the county website at grandtraverscounty.org and or grandtraverse.org. Sorry. If anybody's got questions, comments, or whatever, feel free to get hold of me.
I have a question.
I figured you would. I could see it on your face.
I wanted to make it to the January 8th meeting, but I didn't. Was there any more talk regarding combining the clerk's office and the register of deeds?
No, there was nothing on that agenda. No.
Glad I didn't come then. What's going on with that?
I think it's just something that, from what I've heard every 4 years, it's something that counties can look into. And so it's just worth assessing. It's not saying that we're gonna do it, not saying we're not gonna do it, but it's not saying we're gonna do it. It's just to see if it's something that works. I mean, it works for many counties throughout the state, but that doesn't mean that it's gonna work here. So there's been no decision, no talk. It's just kind of looking at pros and cons, see if it's feasible, see if it's not feasible, but.
For the amount of money that the county would save, I don't personally think it would be worth it. They're
So-
two totally different jobs.
Yeah, when you say they're just looking at it, who's they? Who's
Well,
there
no,
just
I mean,
looking at
like
it?
administration's pulling information together for the commissioners and everything to see, like why it works in some other counties, why it doesn't work in counties, and then we'll listen to our people too and everything, our clerk and everything, see if it's something that
I think they let you guys know.
maybe.
Yeah.
Already
not,
at your meeting.
So, yeah.
I saw it.
I mean, there's nothing indicating that it's gonna merge or anything like that, from what I gathered, it's more of just a topic of discussion because it's something that can be discussed legally every 4 years instead of throughout every year in between, so. I mean, my take on what I've seen is it probably would not happen, but it was discussion.
That's interesting, that's your take on it, because I watched that meeting. And if I had to take a guess, my guess would have been there was more commissioners for that, thinking that was a good idea.
Yeah.
And your clerk and register of deed, they made it very clear to the commissioners that,
I guess our side of that too, though, would be, obviously, somebody would, in those positions, would fight to keep their positions, I would think, no matter what, but, I think it was a good conversation. I think there potentially could be some pros, but I think at the end of the day, we'd see there'd be more cons than anything, so. But, I've not seen anything coming up on any of our agendas for it,
Especially with all the changes lately in election law.
yeah.
I wouldn't want the register of deeds running our elections. Nothing against her.
yeah, that's not what she does.
Right.
It's not,
It's not her.
yeah.
I for one, I guess,
And if-
I would like to see
If something's
both
not.
why it does and why it doesn't work in some of these other counties. There's been other counties that's talked about it and not done it. There's been counties, obviously, that have talked about it and have done it. I don't remember the numbers, because we see our packets are 300-400 pages long, something,
Yeah.
but was it like 30% or 40% in the state are single office? You recall?
Probably close to that,
I
yeah.
want to say it was 30 some or like 40, maybe 60 in my mind, I don't remember. It's under half, it's between a third and a half, but, so for some of it, it works, but I don't know what their staffing situation is like, if their people are dual trained, or, I don't know, I've not seen any of that, so. I didn't get the indication that it would move forward and combine. We're talking $60,000 a year savings or something like that, maybe.
I
Maybe
heard-
They
that's-
claimed 80.
I heard 80,
Or, yeah,
yeah,
80.
which is,
But to me, I think by the time you
Drop
get the
in the
staffing
bucket.
back in that you need, your true savings possibly can only be in that maybe 15 to 20,000 range.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, 20,000
away
is a
some
lot
of
of
their
money, but
take-home
20,000
cars.
is not a lot of money. What's that?
Take away some of their take-home cars, there's your savings right there.
Well, trust me, that's a different.
Leave the clerk and register of deeds alone.
yeah.
Trust me, we've had a few conversations on cars, so.
And if you try it, the coven is gonna be there.
Yeah. But no, part of the reason obviously I'm reporting to you is to get feedback from our townships and the constituents, but especially the townships, because if you guys are gonna hear complaints, we're gonna hear.
Well, you're gonna hear complaints from
Well,
the
you're always
clerks.
vocal.
If you do it.
So, but anyway, again, go ahead, Carl.
Okay, on that subject. In the late 50s, 60s, 70s, when my aunt, Anita Kucherov, was county clerk, even then, the population was low, okay? But they had to make sure that that was kept separate too, because it was just a lot of work for that, even then.
Yeah.
And now we got population, what, 4 times more than it was in the 60s?
Well, maybe 5
And
more than
like
that.
she said, the election long, but I do know my aunt, it was to a point where she hardly ever had vacation. Unfortunately, when she retired, 3 months after she retired, she had a stroke. And she would have retired earlier, but everybody wanted her to run. And it was more than just a Monday through Friday thing.
Mhm.
There was weekends she was working and all that. There was even during family reunion. I noticed her in the home office
Yeah.
doing that stuff. So even then, you know, and you're right, my opinion is to keep the county clerk and the other office separate, because it's just, would be too much of a burden on them.
Yep.
Even, I'm talking about, like I said, 60, 70, so it wouldn't have been worth it either.
Right.
And elections isn't all they do, you know, marriage
Oh, right.
license, birth
You know,
certificates.
there's people at their counter every time I walk in there, I don't know what they're doing, but obviously they're.
And then there's the court thing that Bonnie's the head of.
Yeah, for,
Family court,
Circuit.
circuit court,
Mhm.
I don't know.
family, isn't it?
I think it's all of circuit
Circuit.
court.
It might be.
Circuit.
Oh, circuit, oh, yeah. Yeah, it's the guy. that
Ask the
knows.
lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, like I said, that's one nice thing about coming to these meetings like this, is we can hear the input from you guys and everything, because you're hearing from constituents too and everything, so I appreciate that.
Thanks for listening.
Anytime. With that being said,
Thanks, Brad.
feel free to get a hold of me, email me, call me, whatever. I think most of you have my phone number, but if not, it's on the website and stuff if you have any questions, comments, or whatever. And I know we're at the end of the agenda, but I'll hang out for a few minutes in case anybody wants to talk or anything like that, so. And thanks for having me.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Any other public input? It's adjourned. 7:04 PM.